I think we're live. So somebody asked if I'm running on Indian time. I'm running on Annette time. Thank you. Welcome to the Native American Center at Minot State University. My name is Annette Mennem. I am the Native American Center Director. I'm also a two-time alum from Minot State and an enrolled member of the Turtle Mountain Band of Ojibwe. My grandparents were Bill and Louise Davis, and Mike and Louise Grant. LaValle and Pat Noon were the other sides. So those are my relatives. Like I said, I'm a two-time alum from Minot State, so I'm going to show you a little bit about our center, and then I'm going to host some Q&A. So type in your questions, and if you want to email me questions later on, I'll give you my email address, and we can have a conversation that way. Yeah, so and when I'm done with the live, I'm going to post it for others to see. All right, let me show you around a little bit. Over here, I talked a little bit about our alum. So over here, I have an alum success story board. It's in the making. I'm always adding to it. So if I have any alum on here watching, please send me a current photo of yourself, what you're doing, where you're at. Tell me where your degree brought you to, and I'm going to add you to our board. Over here, we have some resources that I put out for our students from community areas having to do with wellness and good being. We honor our veterans over here. Nathan Goodiron was a student here at Minot State, and unfortunately in 2006 he was killed in Afghanistan while on duty on patrol in a roadside bombing, and his family has honored us and Minot State by hosting or holding all of his memorial stuff here. So this is for our students as well as community to walk by and pay some respects. I talked earlier about myself being a student at Minot State. One of the things that helped me at Minot State to be successful is this sign right over here. When some of you that were at Minot State years ago remember that the Native American Center was in the basement of Old Main. So I myself was walking through that walkway, that first floor of Old Main, and I was a little bit lost with, did I make the right decision? Is this the right place for me? I'm missing my family. This was in 1997 now. And I saw this on the wall, and across from it was a doorway, and I walked in the door, and there was Wiley Hammond and a bunch of people from Belcourt and Rolla and Newtown, people that I knew their families, so I immediately felt that sense of home. So a Native American Center at Minot State is very crucial for student success. As a matter of fact, there's only a couple universities in the state that have maintained their Native American centers. Most have gone multicultural, so I'm proud of the fact that Minot State has maintained our Native American Center. So with that, let me show you our Native American Center. I'm going to take over. Thank you to my friend Jana for helping out. So when you come up to the third floor, up on the third floor of the student center, it's right upstairs from the Beaver Dam. You find the Native American Center. Welcome to our tribe. It's lived in. It provides a lot of services. It provides a lot of resources. So let me just start off. Normally I would have a sign-in sheet here because I need to know who's coming and going, and I need to know who I need to find if they're not coming or going, because really the research has shown that people that have experience with Native American centers have a far better chance of success in university or higher ed learning. So I would encourage everyone any Native student that comes to Minot State to make sure that you make contact with the center, because it's very crucial in your success. So let me show you around a little bit. Of course, first things first, kitchen. The kitchen is a community kitchen. So in other words, if you don't want someone to eat what you have, then we suggest you put your name on it. The Native American Club is housed here. They're the ones that bought the fridge. They're the ones that help by supplying, stocking, providing stuff for our students. The campus has a free soup day on Tuesdays. It's through campus ministry and Lutheran services, our Lutheran churches in town. And So then I, as the Native American Center, then I make it a point to cook another day during the week. My students, sometimes they only get pancakes. Sometimes they'll get like meat and potatoes and vegetables and the whole bit. But it just depends on what I have time for. This is our, I call it the living room, I guess. Sometimes I'll come in and somebody will be sleeping on that couch like Alea Azure. I see you there, Alea. And then over here is kind of a study area, but I also noticed that students will use the beading supplies and the sewing supplies that I have for either students want to make a ribbon skirt or a ribbon shirt, or there's all kinds of beading supplies in there if they want to do some beadwork. That's what this table tends to be used for a lot. Anyway, and again, like I said, the couch area is used a lot by our students. In between class, they'll stop on in. And this, of course, not everybody looks at their news on paper anymore, but I still get local newspapers. We have the MHA Nation Times, and we have the Turtle Mountain Times here as well. And some alum out there like Tammy, I see you, Tammy. Remember this table? This table moved over from Old Main. This table has been around since the beginning of the Native American Center here at Minot State. There have been a lot of studying, a lot of relationships, a lot of friendships made around this table. But the most important thing is we had a lot of support for each other. We really, really did provide support for each other. Wiley was here to guide us, but boy, we really helped each other out a lot. Another resource we have is the computer lab. In the computer lab, we have a printer, a copier. Over on the other side, behind the study station, we have a scanner and a fax machine as well. This little corner right here is what I call take what you need and donate when you can. So if somebody needs binders, because nowadays books come with hole punches and not covers, so don't go buy a binder. Come check with me first. Someone took a class, anatomy and physiology, and created these study cards and then left them here for someone to use and then return, or keep it. I guess it doesn't matter. But the point is that somebody else created that for somebody else to use because they found it useful. I still have little notes here from a couple of my students. They like to leave little notes for each other, which I think is really cool. This is some job opening information because students that come to Minot State, we don't get free education. So our Native students have to sometimes get a job. And so I provide some resources for them here. This is what I call, this is time to be a warrior. So there is some mental health and well-being information here for our students, just so that they know that there are resources for them and that they're not alone. Yeah, so books up here. Students that take classes will donate books because they know they may pay $100 for a book, but then when they go to sell it back, they're going to get $4. So instead, they'll donate it up here for another student to use. This is another tool, a resource. I, at one time, taught a study hall class, but students, I think, felt that there was just another class. So I took my resources and put them here, and I do have to refill. People use them. As an example, your learning style, if you don't know how you learn, then it's going to be hard on you a little bit. So I encourage people to do a learning style inventory so that they know what's the best way for them to learn. How to outline a chapter. I never read a whole I never read a whole textbook. I learned that. How to take notes, how to study, how to prepare for a test. I also have some school supplies available. I usually buy these and keep them in my office. Notebook cards, pencils, pens, highlighters, Scantron sheets. Just things that I think students might need. These are some tips from some of our alum for academic success. These are some really good tips. I got some really smart people that I know that put together some of these tips to how to be successful. And it's true. if you practice all of these tips, not to 100%, but to your best, you're going to be successful. This is a little bit of information board on here. As you can see, March 24th was our next club meeting. That's because the center closed down because of COVID right before that, so we didn't get to do our in-person meeting. With that being said, let me talk about the Native American the Native American Cultural Club, excuse me. The Native American Cultural Club is housed over here. And what I mean by that, this is all their information center. So our club president, vice president, secretary, treasurer, if you need to communicate with them, you can leave things there. Now, that about the Native American Club, I really do believe that on your resume in the future, you should have organizations or clubs, something that you are involved in. It shows community involvement. It shows leadership. So get involved with the Native American Club when you're at Minot State. It is another resource because they really do a lot to take care of our students. The Native American Club helps host a couple events on campus. One of them is the November Cultural Celebration. The other thing that the club hosts is the Spring Honor Dance and Powwow Celebration. This year's powwow was canceled, so our 31st will continue next year. So the Native American Club also hosts that. They get involved. They provide a couple parties throughout the year. Last year we did a Christmas party. The year before, spring break, we had planned to do, and we did it last year, a pool party down at the Minot State pool, and we did that. That was a lot of fun. So this is the Native American Center once again, and I've been on here just rambling, but let me repeat. My name is Annette Mennem. I am the Native American Center Director. That's my office. Sometimes we call it the cry room. But that's what I'm here for, is I'm here to help our students be successful. Before me was Dennis Parisian, and before him was Wiley Hammond. And Wiley really helped me to be successful at this university, and I am forever grateful for him. We really do miss he and Kathy on campus. So if anybody sees Kathy, make sure you say hello from me. So, but yeah, I'm going to sit down here for a minute and flip this thing around so I could see if anybody has any questions. I can answer questions. So I see Tammy Jolly Trottier was on here earlier. I think she may be still on here, but Tammy's a graduate of ours, and I like to brag about her a little bit because she and a few other women in the community of the Turtle Mountains started a wellness or a mental health, I'm going to get it wrong, Tammy, I apologize, but they started a behavioral health clinic apart from Indian Health Services, which I think is extremely important for individuals who sometimes have a stigma of, first of all, going to Indian Health Services, or second of all, and going to Indian Health Services for mental health. It's really difficult. So bravo to those ladies that started that, because people can get those services without having to rely on Indian Health Services. As I was going to put out my email as well. If you want to email me any questions, my email is Annette, ANNETTE .Mennem, MENNEM @ndus.edu. I'm also on when you get to the Minot State website, I think I'm the only Annette. So if you search up Annette, you'll find me. Minot State campus has about 3,200, 3,500 students, approximately 3,200 on our campus. That means we have our class sizes are no more than 25, which is really great. That's one of the reasons why I came to Minot State. Of that 3,200 students, we have last fall we had 137 Native students enrolled or self-identified. And so that means we have almost 4% of our population is Native, I believe you do the math, which is a nice number. We are within 70 some miles from the Mandan Hidatsa Fort Berthold Indian Reservation, and about 110 miles, 106 miles from the Turtle Mountain Reservation. With that being said, we get a lot of students from the area, and a majority of our students graduate from those two reservations. We also have the other reservations represented here on campus at times too, but a majority of our students come from the Turtle Mountains and the Fort Berthold area. We average about 20 graduates a year. This past year we had 20 identified, and when I keep saying identified is some students, they have a choice. They don't want to identify, they don't, and that's entirely up to them. There's two opportunities for them to identify. Is one, their application here when enrolling at Minot State, which, by the way, if they don't identify, then they exclude themselves from some scholarship opportunities. So I can't impress on people enough to please identify, because you are only going to sell yourself short. You're not going to be able to be qualified for some of the unique money opportunities. Also, the other opportunity that students have to identify is in their grad app. If they don't identify in their grad app, then I don't know that they're Native and they're graduating. So people sometimes ask, like, why did you not include, or why wasn't so-and-so included, and how do you know? That's how I find out, is they have to identify on their grad app. And then that's when we start with that's when we do the honoring at the powwow, is we include them and their families for the honoring. It's pretty quiet around here this summer. Let me talk about some of the future plans. I've recently been involved with the Red and Green School. Dan Kahn wrote a grant and got a grant for an Indigenous garden here on our campus. So right across the street from Model Hall, is it on Model Hall? Yeah, Model Hall is the Indigenous Gardens. We obtained seeds from Knife River. So right now we have, in that garden area, we have ceremonial tobacco, we have watermelon, we have squash, we have mandan and haricot squash, we have beans and corn and sunflower. Next year we're going to add a forage garden. So we're going to have, wild turnips, asparagus, onion, some of those things that, and then so that's one of the initiatives that we're taking here on campus, because Minot State, along with all of our other programs, we do have a minor and a concentration in Native American studies. In the spring of 2021, Alex Dakota from the Turtle Mountains is going to be teaching an Ojibwe speaking class, or a class. It's a special topics language class, the spring of 2021, and it's going to be 100% online. So check that out. Ojibwe speaking class taught by Alex Dakota. And then there's a couple other language classes that are coming, but I don't know them off the top of my head, and I don't want to get it wrong. So let's just play that by ear, and I'll be sharing on this Facebook page some of those opportunities as well. Speaking about the Facebook page, the Native American Center also has a website. So basically you go to the Minot State University website and you type in the Google search bar Native American Center, and the center will pop up and you'll see the logo. There are resources there for students. There are links there. That's how you apply. Future students, you apply there. Returning students, you can apply there. Just remember, any scholarship opportunity, which includes a diversity waiver, the diversity waiver just cuts your tuition right in half. That is linked to your application. So you have to apply, and you have to apply using the scholarship application. So one scholarship application for all of the scholarship opportunities, but make sure that you check the box that you are Native, because if you check that box, then it throws you into a pool of all these scholarships that are just unique for us Native people, including the diversity waiver. Oh, by the way, I don't agree with this, but our deadline for scholarships is rather early. It's February 15th every year. So I recommend people, even if you're thinking about coming, to do the scholarship application as soon as possible. This year's a little unique, so you can still apply. It's a unique situation this year, so still apply. But my point in the future is, let's say if somebody's thinking about coming in the fall of 2021, please get your scholarship application done in February. Click the box that says you are Native, and then that puts you into a pool that's with scholarships unique for us Native students, including the diversity waiver. I think I've pretty much covered as much as I can. The university has a lot of bachelor programs. We have master's programs. We don't have any doctorate programs, but we have the tracks where we have people that come and get on that track where they're going to go into that direction. And I'm thinking of one individual is Nevin Gillis. Nevin wanted to go to med school, which he is. He's in med school at UND. Well, that's the last I heard. He was at med school in UND. But he came to Minot State, and he majored in biology. So he knew he was going to go on to med school, so he had to, and he wanted to come to Minot State because it was a smaller class size. It was close enough for him to go home. So he did. He got his bachelor's degree here in biology. And while he was here, he was able to do some research with Dr. Keller. And Dr. Keller, they did some research on hybriding beans. And when Dr. Keller's research was published, so was Nevin's name, was a publisher attached to it. So even if we don't have the program that you're looking for, we have a program to get you there. Hi, David Trottier. So I'm going to flip this around one more time here so you all could just get a look at the center. It's very homey. I know that when I have students that come from all parts of the country, they say no matter where you're at, no matter where you're from, you can always come here and feel like you're at home. So I like that. That's my goal. If you have any questions, throw them out at me. Hi, Kenzie. My goal is to cover the ceiling with dream catchers. So whenever someone gifts me a dream catcher, that's where it goes, is on the ceiling. We talk a little bit about this wall that I'm sitting next to. So that is the club logo. It was done by an individual from Newtown area. And when I first started working here at Minot State, this wall was covered with all these gifts, all the stuff that Wiley had gotten over the years. So I wanted to freshen up the place, so we took everything down, and I wanted to paint this wall with the four colors representing everything it represents. So I reached out to plant service or to facility maintenance, and I asked, and Rick, I'm gonna forget his last name all of a sudden. And Rick was a facility maintenance guy here, and he jumped on it, and he came up here right away, and he said, "Hey, can I please do this? I want to paint something besides green and red or white." And I said, "Yeah, sure, most definitely." So then I showed him our pamphlet for the Native American Center, and the pamphlet has the club logo on it. And I said, I wish I found somebody that could put this on the wall. And that's when Rick told me that he was a graduate, art major, graduate from Minot State, and he majored in art. And he said, I can do that. So he did. But the best thing that he did for us is he did it on wood, so that if we were to be moved, we could take it with us. The only time I think we're going to be moved is if I get extra space for study and we blow out that wall maybe someday, right? We could put that on the wall in there. But anyway, I like the fact that he did it on the wood, and then we could add it later. That's the club logo. Again, that's our kitchen. I have some resources here for students. I have people that travel a lot, so they'll come in and they'll bring me all this travel stuff. just try to make sure that they have stuff available to help them be healthy, make right choices, have some resources for students. And we have people from the campus that come in. We have students from taking classes on campus that will want some information about for a paper they're writing, so they'll come in and interview me. This is another piece of document that it seems to fly out of here a lot. We talk about natives don't pay taxes. This was done in 2016. It was an initiative that was done by Scott Davis and the North Dakota Indian Affairs Commission, because we wanted to take a look at how much tax revenue came out, or tax contributions came out of Native country, or Indian country. So when people come in and they ask questions, I give them the correct info. There are lots of funding resources available for our Indigenous students, and I tell that to students all the time. If you do it right, you should not have to leave with student loans. If you do it right, keep your tuition waiver, keep your scholarships, keep your grades, keep your things. You should not have to leave with any debt. And the other thing I always tell them too is, just because it says that you need 12 credits to be full-time doesn't mean that's all you take is 12 credits at a time. You should probably take about 15 or 16 at a time. That's just me talking. Anyway, well, if you don't have any questions, I am going to let you all go. Thanks for watching. Thanks for attending. I'm going to post this so that people can come back and watch it later. I'll also put my email and my phone number in the description, and some links to our Native American website and Minot State's program page. I'm going to do this again in July, and if you know of anybody that's slightly interested in coming to Minot State, have them reach out. I'm here to answer questions. I'm here to help through the process. Oh, Kenzie wants me to show you all my cool charging ports. Okay, so almost on a daily basis I get asked, do I have a charger? And a lot of times it's iPhones, and I don't have an iPhone. I have an Android. So I found this. It can charge any kind of phone you can imagine, including wireless. Kenzie, you think that's really cool, huh? So, oh, and one more thing, save the date. Next year's powwow is going to be April 30th and May 1st here at the Minot State Dome. All right, I'm going to publish this, and I'll talk to you all later. Make sure and share it. Make sure and like our page. And make sure that you do something in the future. I'm talking to some our young people. When you graduate, just know that that's not the end. When you graduate from high school, that's just not the end. You got to do something more. And if higher ed is what you're looking for, reach out and we can help you. All right, talk to you later. Miigwech.